All right, everyone, welcome to our very first deep dive.
Huh.
I am so excited for this one. Are you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Feeling the energy already. It's Real Madrid in the Champions League. What's not to be excited about?
Exactly. And we're diving straight into a huge clash. Real Madrid versus AC Milan.
Yeah, big game, and we can't ignore the backdrop in Spain right now. It's a tough time for the country.
Absolutely. Our thoughts are with everyone affected by the recent tragedies. And, in times like these, football can be a real source of unity and strength.
For sure. Hopefully tonight's match can provide a bit of that.
Could agree more. Now, Real Madrid, they need to come out strong. They're coming off a tough loss.
Yeah, and the producer was saying Mbappé and Vinicius Jr., they just didn't seem to find their finishing touch in that last match.
Yeah, they had their chances, but just couldn't convert. And AC Milan, on the other hand, they are on fire right now.
Red hot. And they've got Christian Pulisic playing some of his best football.
That's right. Our producer actually flagged him as a potential danger for Real Madrid. He's got a history of performing well against them.
Interesting. So how do you think Ancelotti's going to counter that threat?
Well, that leads us to what the producer called the midfield puzzle.
Ah, yes, the midfield puzzle. Real Madrid's got an embarrassment of riches there.
They really do. Brahim Diaz, Arda Güler, Luka Modric, and of course the new star, Jude Bellingham.
So many options, so many ways to go. And that's the puzzle. Where does everyone fit? Where does Bellingham have the most impact?
Well, the producer thinks they might have the answer, and it involves Rodrygo.
Rodrygo. Okay, I'm intrigued. Go on.
The producer's been saying that starting Rodrygo could be the key to unlocking Bellingham's full potential.
Okay, I can see where they're going with this. Tell me more.
Well, think about it. We saw Bellingham struggle a bit in that last match. He was forced into a more defensive role.
Yeah, he wasn't able to get forward as much as he likes to.
Exactly. But with Rodrygo's work rate and his support.
Bellingham could be freed up to play higher up the pitch.
Exactly. He could focus on creating chances, dictating the tempo.
I like it. It's an interesting theory for sure. And that's what we're all about here on the deep dive, right?
Absolutely. Unpacking all these details and giving you those tactical insights. And listeners, if you're loving this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and share this deep dive with your fellow Madridistas.
Yeah, let's grow this community. Let us know in the comments what you think about this Rodrygo theory. Is he the key to unlocking Bellingham's magic?
Okay, so we've got Real Madrid needing to bounce back. We've got a dangerous AC Milan side. We've got this midfield puzzle and a potential solution with Rodrygo. But there's one more thing we need to talk about, Vinicius Jr. and the Ballon d'Or.
Ah, yes, the Ballon d'Or. That's a whole other layer to this story. So Vinicius Jr., he was a favorite for that award.
A lot of people thought he was going to win it.
But it went to Rodri instead.
And that's caused some controversy. The producer actually included a quote from Rodrygo, football legend.
Oh yeah, good.
And he believes that Vinicius deserved it more.
Interesting take.
He said that Vinicius' performance last season was absolutely phenomenal.
He had an incredible season.
He really did. And Gullit even said he understands Vinicius' frustration.
I mean, can you imagine being that close to winning the Ballon d'Or and then just missing out?
Yeah, I can see why he'd be disappointed.
Especially after the season he had.
Exactly. And, it does raise some questions about what makes a player the best in the world.
Right, like what criteria are we really using to judge that?
It's subjective, isn't it?
It is. The Ballon d'Or voting. It's all based on opinions from journalists around the world.
So naturally, there's going to be debate.
There always is, and that's part of what makes it so interesting.
And speaking of interesting shock, Vinicius Jr.'s response to all this has been pretty remarkable.
What did he say?
He basically said on social media that he's just going to work 10 times harder.
Wow. That's the kind of mentality that makes a champion.
He's not letting this setback define him.
No, he's using it as fuel.
And, this whole situation actually ties in perfectly with something the producer wanted to explore Vinicius Jr.'s journey and how he's overcome so many challenges in his career.
Yeah, it's a pretty inspiring story.
It really is. There's this great article from BBC Sport. They describe him as him against the world.
Wow, that's powerful.
It really is. They talk about the racism he's faced, the unfair criticism.
He's had to deal with a lot.
But through it all, he's kept shining. He had his best goal-scoring season, yet he broke Messi's Champions League final scoring record.
And he's become a voice against racism.
He's a role model on and off the pitch.
And the producer found this incredible anecdote about Vinicius from one of his former coaches.
Claudio Cacapa.
Yeah, he coached Vinicius in the Brazil under-15 team. And he said that Vinicius once used his own sponsorship money to buy a phone and clothes for a teammate who couldn't afford them.
That's amazing. That just shows the kind of person he is.
So humble, so generous.
And it makes his achievements on the pitch even more impressive.
It really does. And speaking of impressive, remember that story about how Liverpool almost signed him for like 20 million?
I remember that.
And then Real Madrid swooped in and got him for 45 million when he was only 16.
That's incredible. Talk about spotting potential.
Real Madrid saw something special in him. And they were right.
They were definitely right.
They-
So with all this in mind, how do you think Vinicius Jr. is going to perform against AC Milan?
I think he's going to be on fire. He's got a point to prove.
I agree. I can already see him making those incredible runs, leaving defenders in his dust.
And with the Ballon d'Or snub fresh in his mind,
He's going to be extra motivated.
this match is shaping up to be something special.
It really is. And before we go any further, I think we need to give a shout out to our producer.
Absolutely. They've done some incredible work for this deep dive.
All the research, all the insights, it's been invaluable.
A huge thank you to our producer and listeners. If you're enjoying this deep dive, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this episode with your fellow Madridistas.
We want to build a community here, a place where we can all come together and celebrate our love for Real Madrid.
So spread the word. And let's dive into the final part of this episode, where we'll really explore what this clash against AC Milan means for Real Madrid.
Okay, everyone, we are back for the final part of our first ever deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground: Real Madrid's recent form, AC Milan's threats, the Vinicius Jr. story, the midfield puzzle. But now, it's prediction time. What's going to happen in this match?
Yeah, the moment of truth. And I'm feeling pretty good about Real Madrid's chances, especially after going through all this info with you and seeing the work our producer's done.
Speaking of the producer, they actually predicted a 3-1 win for Real Madrid with Vinicius Jr. scoring. What do you think? It's pretty bold, right?
It is bold, especially considering Real Madrid's last result, but I wouldn't rule it out completely. Real Madrid, they tend to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, big games. Champions League nights, the Bernabeu, it's like they feed off that energy.
Exactly. And you add in the emotional weight of everything happening in Spain right now.
This match becomes even more significant.
It's a chance for Real Madrid to give the fans something to cheer about, to show their strength and unity.
Okay, so you're saying you could see Real Madrid winning. But what are the key factors, the things that will determine the outcome?
Well, the producer hit the nail on the head with those 3 points. They highlighted Rodrygo's impact, Bellingham's positioning, and how Ancelotti balances the team between attack and defense.
All right, let's start with Rodrygo. You mentioned how he could free up Bellingham. Explain that a bit more for us. How do you see that playing out on the pitch?
Picture this. Rodrygo starts in the right wing. His pace, his dribbling ability, he's a nightmare for defenders. They're forced to focus on him, which creates space in the middle of the pitch, and that's where Bellingham comes in.
So with Rodrygo pulling defenders wide, Bellingham has more room to operate. He can push higher up the field, become more involved in the attack.
Exactly. He's not stuck in that defensive role. He can dictate the play, create chances, spray those passes around.
And with Vinicius Jr. on the other wing, also causing havoc.
AC Milan's defense is going to be stretched thin, pulled in different directions, gaps will open up, and that's when Real Madrid can really hurt them.
It sounds dangerous. And don't forget about set pieces. Real Madrid is always a threat from those.
Absolutely. Any free kick, any corner. It's a chance for them to score. With players like Militao and Rodrygo.
They're so strong in the air. All right, so we got the Rodrygo-Bellingham connection, Vinicius Jr. on the other side.
Yeah.
Set pieces. I'm starting to see why our producers are confident.
And then you add in the Bernabeu factor. The crowd, the atmosphere, the history.
It's going to be electric. Okay, but let's be realistic. AC Milan is a good team. They're not going to just roll over.
Of course not. They're in form. They have dangerous players like Pulisic. They'll be well organized and they'll look to hit Real Madrid on the counter.
So it's going to be a battle.
It always is in the Champions League.
So final verdict. Are you sticking with the producer's 3-1 prediction, or are you going a different way?
I'm going to say 2-1 Real Madrid. I think it'll be a close one. But
Right.
in the end, I think Real Madrid's experience, their quality, and their desire to win will see them through.
A narrow win, but a win nonetheless. I can already hear the celebrations at the Bernabeu.
It's going to be a special night, I think. A night where football brings people together.
And that's what this deep dive has been all about. Bringing Real Madrid fans together, sharing our passion for this club.
And this is just the beginning. We've got a whole season of deep dives ahead of us.
So if you've enjoyed this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and tell your friends about the deep dive. Let's grow this community.
And let us know your predictions for the match. We want to hear from you.
Until next time. Madridistas, Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.